President Tinubu assures flood-ravaged communities of federal government's support. Nasarawa state government to establish compressed natural gas conversion centers. And Department of State Services, DSS, denies alleged invasion of SERAP offices in Abuja and Lagos. A very good afternoon and welcome to News Desk at 3 on Nta News24. We're broadcasting live from our studio here in Abuja. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurazak. And we begin from Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, which woke up to a flood disaster magnitude of which has never been seen before. Now causing massive disruption to social and economic life of the city that's rising up from the recent insurgency. Kaigama Mustafa reports that floods have for the first time submerged the Shehu of Borno's palace, the state secretariat and hospitals. Pandemonium is what best describes the atmosphere, he says, on the streets of Maiduguri, with families seen wandering aimlessly, having remained awake all through the night when the flood first hit the city. Though no loss of life has been reported so far, major roads in the central area linking the city with other parts of the metropolis and other surrounding communities have been completely submerged. And back home, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has expressed deep concern about the flooding in parts of Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. Now, the worst flood in recent decades has displaced thousands of residents and affected facilities such as the post office and the Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. President Tinubu extends his heartfelt condolences to the government and people of the state, especially to the families that have lost their means of livelihood due to the disaster triggered by the overflow of the Alao Dam. While relevant authorities are still assessing the damage wrought by the flood, the president calls for the immediate evacuation of people from affected areas. President Tinubu also assures Governor Babagana Umara Zulum that the federal government is ready to collaborate to address the immediate humanitarian needs of the affected people. He also orders the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to assist the flood victims. The president says he remains committed to mobilizing federal resources to support the state during this difficult time. And the flood-ravaging parts of the country is a major concern to federal government, and support will be provided to those affected states. And those were the words of Vice President Kashim Shettima, who gave the assurance as directed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I want to use this forum to commiserate with the people of our great nation over the flood disasters we are recording all across the length and breadth of this nation. After this meeting, with the consent of the President, I will rush to Maiduguri. The whole city has been overtaken by floods. It's not peculiar to one part of the country. We are facing these challenges right from Bayelsa to Sokoto. Be rest assured that the President has the nation at heart and will do whatever it takes to salvage the state of affairs. And here,
that was Vice President delivering the promise of federal government to flood victims. And from the Northeast Development Commission, we hear the commission is set to roll out another phase of livelihood support to people across 6 states of the region to cushion the effects the flood-affected communities. Managing Director Mohammed Goni Alkali disclosed this while assessing collapsed bridges and roads cut off by flood in Yobe State. Our correspondent Yunusa Suleiman tells us more.
Yobe State is one of the states suffering from the brunt of flood, with records from SEMA indicating 49,000 people across 408 communities have been affected. The flood disaster didn't stop at displacement of people, but also destroying bridges and cutting up roads, disconnecting towns, villages, thereby limiting social and economic activities of people in the state. To this end, the Northeast Development Commission, led by the Managing Director, Mohammed Goni Al-Gali, led an assessment visit to areas affected in Yobe State, such as the collapsed roads, culverts, and bridges between Garingada in Jakusko local government, Jumbam collapsed bridge in Tarmo local government area, and Katerko Gujba failed portion in Gujba local government area.
We'll do our work. If need be, we can also partner with some of the agencies of federal government like the Ministry of Works and Water Resources and Environment and all this. This is government of everything. It's not only the road, the environmental issue here, there's water issue here, and so agriculture issue here. So partner with all the agencies that are involved to see that a permanent solution is provided, so that future occurrence will be minimized. Like we've been talking about this climate change for a long time, but some of us didn't take it serious. But it's the reality.
The NEDC team also inspected the completed 250 auditorium at the Yobe State University and the Yobe State Office of the Commission in Damaturu, which are awaiting inauguration. In Damaturu, Yunus Suleiman, Nta News.
And at the regional level, member states of ECOWAS now have a regional strategy framework to plan and execute all disaster risk reduction activities. Now, the document, validated and adopted in Abuja, was a consolidation of the Niamey recommendation of 2023. Kevin Ehunwaye reports.
Many countries in West Africa are plagued with displaced persons, either from conflicts or natural disasters made worse by impact of climate change. Now, the ECOWAS Midterm Regional Consultative Meeting on Disaster Risk Reduction, we brought together emergency management agencies, has reviewed the 2023 Niamey document on disaster management and adopted a new framework that harmonized the response approach methodology with a view to making impact of natural disasters on the region. Their report.
Over the years, ECOWAS has invested a lot to all the member states, and I think this continues to be a challenge because resources are limited, and I think also coupled with the fact that to also address the root causes of these issues, it's also very important. So in all ramifications, ECOWAS is investing a lot, and we need more resources.
For instance, at the moment, we have what is known as Women Network in Disaster Risk Management. We have just started that exercise, and one of the states in the country is being adopted as a pilot state that will escalate to all other states.
The framework is to be ratified by ECOWAS member states with a timeline for periodic evaluation. In Abuja, Kelvin Ehunwaye, Nta News.
Now, in other news, Nasarawa State Government says it is to establish 3 compressed natural gas CNG conversion centers in the state. Governor Abdullahi Saleh said this during the presentation of certificates to 50 technicians trained on LNG CNG biofuel conversion. Aliu Tijani was there.
The training of 50 technicians on NLG CNG conversion, which was done in Kaduna, was facilitated by the state government.
Some of us have been working for a long time. There are things we did not know. How is this thing working? But we only work. But today, by the grace of God, nobody would call any of us here a roadside mechanic.
Governor Abdullahi Sule Comment, Director General of the State Human Capital Development Agency, and the Nigerian Automobiles Technicians Association for ensuring a successful training exercise.
This initiative is a bold response to the national challenge posed by the fuel subsidy removal, and it aligns both with His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
While congratulating the beneficiaries of the training, the governor urges them to also train other individuals, even as he revealed the commitment of his administration to establish conversion centers in the state, with a bid to supporting the initiative.
The future lies with clean energy. The future lies with gas, CNG, LNG, and electric vehicles. That's where the future is. And in Nigeria, even if there is no future, with the way the price of petroleum products are going up, that is the future for Nigeria, whether we like it or not.
Director General Pan Learning Center, Kaduna, Hussein Abubakar says the 50 participants were trained on installation and conversion among other services. He commends Governor Abdullahi Sule for being the first governor to invest in the training of technicians in the conversion of liquefied natural gas and compressed natural gas. The 50 technicians were drawn from the 13 local government areas of the state. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, Nta News.
And Nigeria and China have signed an agreement in critical sectors of the economy such as rail, maritime and energy at the 2024 Forum of China-Africa Cooperation Summit. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, provided more insight into the agreement when he appeared on Good Morning Nigeria today. Ekemini Williams reports.
President Bola Tinubu's recent official visit to Beijing, China for the Forum China-Africa Cooperation culminated in both countries signing a number of critical agreements on infrastructure, solid minerals development, power, technology, telecommunications, agriculture, and cultural exchanges. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, who was on the president's delegation and signed some of the agreements, provided explicit details on the scope of the agreements and said they have a responsibility to see to the realization of the agreements.
China and Nigeria foster a common understanding which includes or prioritize lifting people out of poverty, sharing prosperity across the globe, as well as an agreement specifically on the development of human resources. This is in addition to the other agreements, like I said, that have been signed covering media, of which NTA is a prominent.
The minister said Nigeria has the capacity to absorb all the potential investments from China. Also said that Nigeria has to increase exports to China for better balance of trade between both countries.
We should respect each other's civilization. We should respect each other's culture. We do not see any person's or other person's culture as being inferior to ours. So if we do this, we are going to build a kind of harmonious international system that will be better for humanity, and nobody will actually feel isolated.
International affairs and political analysts on the program welcomed foreign direct investments, but called for a diligent regulatory framework to ensure that the country's interest is protected. They also stressed the need to ensure judicious use of the borrowed funds.
Nigeria should continue to maintain very cordial relation with not just only China, but all the other great powers. Nigeria has a lot to benefit in the areas of technology transfer. Nigeria has a lot to benefit in the area of getting foreign loans to carry out its development programs. Nigeria will benefit a lot in terms of attracting foreign direct investments.
The guest also advised government to institute a mechanism to oversight Chinese companies in Nigeria to forestall allegations of excesses. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, Nta News.
And you can watch a repeat broadcast of Good Morning Nigeria later this afternoon at 5:05. You're watching News Desk 3 on Nta News24. We'll take a short break. The news continues presently.
What is fake news? A false information with no verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos, and disaffection between persons, groups, or countries. Fake news facilitates extremism. Fake news creates panic and distrust. Fake news breeds hatred. Fake news kills. Don't joke with it. Don't be in a rush. Verify your sources and facts. It is better late than fake. This message is brought to you by Nta News24.
Welcome back. Now, Nigeria Union of Pensioners is asking for equal rate increment in the implementation of the new national minimum wage of 70,000 naira for all workers and pensioners. President of the union, Godwin Amumise, made the demand while briefing newsmen in Abuja. Joseph Otseng reports.
President Bola Tinubu signed the new minimum wage bill into law to uplift living and working conditions of Nigerian workers. And as aging retirees, Nigerian pensioners are reminding authorities that implementation should cut across board, including upward and equal review of pension of the retired workers.
That is to say, if the minimum wage for the workers is increased by 110%, the same rate of increment should be used to adjust pensions, as it is an incontrovertible fact that all categories of wage earners are in the same ship navigating stormy waters.
With most of the pensioners aging and without sources of income, nursing health challenges and taking care of other responsibilities, they see themselves in the most vulnerable category of people in the country and should attract special attention and not marginalization. In Abuja, Joseph Oten, NTA News.
Let's talk politics. And the candidate of the People's Redemption Party in the September 21 governorship election in Ondo State, Patience Ndidike, at a media briefing in Abuja, has urged the people of the state to look beyond sentiments and vote for visionary candidate for the transformation of the state. Timothy Yusuf also reports that the People's Democratic Party at a similar briefing is also urging all stakeholders to ensure a peaceful election.
The People's Redemption Party PRP governorship candidate in the forthcoming election, Patience Ofure Ndidike, is the only female in the race. She believes that visionary leadership goes beyond gender and urged the people to look beyond incidences of vote buying, gender and party affiliations if Edo must be transformed to work for all.
Edo needs redemption, and People's Redemption Party PRP is bringing redemption, victory, and the key to make sure we open all the good doors of prosperity and progress in our state.
Meanwhile, the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party PDP, Debo Ologoagba, on behalf of the party leadership, is calling for a level playing field in the forthcoming Edo governorship election.
Let the people speak. Let their will prevail.
He re-emphasized that the PDP candidate Asue Igodalo has all it takes to make Edo greater. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And the Governing All Progressives Congress, APC, has postponed its caucus National Executive Committee NEC meetings earlier slated for September the 12th, 2024, indefinitely. A statement issued by the party and made available to the public did not give reasons for the postponement. But such high-level meetings are always subject to the President's approval, APC says. New dates for the two meetings of the highest organs of the party will be communicated in due course. You're watching News Desk at 3 here on Nta News24. Let's now remind you of major stories in our bulletin. President Tinubu has assured flood-ravaged communities of government's support. Nasarawa state government commences efforts to establish compressed natural gas conversion centers. Department of State Services, DSS, has denied alleged invasion of SERAP offices in Abuja and Lagos.
This is NTA News24.
The Department of State Services, DSS, has denied the alleged invasion of SERAP offices in Abuja and Lagos. In a statement published on its website, the DSS says the narrative is inaccurate and misleading in its intent. It explains that a team of 2 unarmed service operatives were lawfully detailed on routine investigation to SERAP office in Abuja, which was misinterpreted as unlawful harassment and intimidation of SERAP officials. The statement adds that such official inquiries and liaison are traditional and does not in any way amount to illegality or raid. The DSS urges the public to disregard the narratives as it restates its commitment to utmost professionalism in the discharge of its core mandate. It also assures of in-depth investigation of the malicious contents and calls for citizens' participation in national security management. Operation Whirlwind, which is coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has the mandate to secure border communities and combat smuggling of petroleum products. 3 months after commencing operations, key players in Operation Whirlwind have met to assess its operations and re-strategize. Kunle Adeye reports.
Operation Whirlwind is visible at every point of entry nationwide, primarily to counter smuggling of petroleum products, and defaulters are already feeling the heat. The operations chief assessor, Nuhu Ribadu, though satisfied with the feedbacks he is getting, still wants more breakthroughs. The Nigeria Customs Service highlights the success of the operation, but pinpoints some factors as major hurdles.
We are here to advance the cause of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that has identified the economic regeneration of Nigeria, the repositioning of Nigerian economy, and the oil sector is indeed very, very important for this noble objective.
There are a lot of challenges that happen. I didn't want to bore the whole house with all those things. Just last week, the vehicles of our patrol officers of the command, they were completely smashed by smugglers. But when you are starting off a thing like this, we expect it.
After extensive deliberation, other active players are categorical that the action must be sustained to stabilize the economy.
With our continuous collaboration, we are actually part of the Operation Whirlwind, and we are providing all the necessary support and data.
In the course of the onslaught, goods worth more than 470 million naira have been confiscated. Kunle Adeye, Nta News.
Thank you, Kunle. And just to inform you, Rwanda and Nigeria Smart is still goalless. I'll be back here at 6, but don't forget to catch up with more news on the network service at 4. I am Claire Abilabu Abdulrazak. Bye-bye.